today is going to be, this one's going to be a little different than normal. To be straight up, this is not as much of a how do you do this tutorial. This is going to be more of an overview on how I set up my local environment. And again, not going to be a tutorial. I'm not going to go into too much depth because I'm actually working on the Clean Code Studio website right now. And I'm using a combination of Laravel Nova and Laravel Spark together. But while I'm doing this, I've been setting up my home environment, my local development environment. I kind of want to show you guys what I've got going. So I'm using Homestead, as you can probably guess. And I wanted to show you guys how I configure my local Homestead environment because, frankly, I enjoy it a lot. And so, obviously, we have the whole tutorial on Homestead on how to install Homestead. I want to show you guys what features I have set up in this features section, and then these extra attributes I have on Homestead for my actual site. So, there's really, 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess I've got 6 things going. 6 things going. So, let's go to Clean Code, and I've called it cleancode.mission locally. And the first thing we're going to go to is if we go to cleancode.mission, right there. Yeah. And so as you can see, I'm just using Spark. And if we go to Nova, or maybe it's like Simplify. Yeah, I think it's Simplify. There we go. And then I've got Nova. So Nova and Spark, I'm not gonna ruin the good stuff yet. But the first thing I want to show you is you can set your PHP version. And I'm using PHP 7.4, but if you wanted to, you could set this to 7.0, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, and 7.4. Pretty cool stuff right there. And then, of course, you would have to do Vagrant. Here, I'll show you real quick. It would be Vagrant reload provision, just like that if you change your PHP version. The next thing I've got going, and I'm actually going to bring Homestead over here real quick, because Homestead, guys, it is extremely powerful. And you can actually add Docker into Homestead. So, you know, I like it because it can do Homestead stuff, aka Vagrant stuff, and it can do Docker stuff. So the next thing I've got going is I want to show you guys, yeah, here it is, the mail. And so have you ever been in a local development environment and you want to send emails and you can't, and it just frustrates you? You know, normally what I'll use is I'll use mailtrap.io. It's pretty helpful. I'll log in real quick. And you can send local emails. I might have some in here. Yeah. Zach at Clean Code, K Etel, to add examples. So these are just some of my local. And I used to use Mailtrap all the time. But I just recently found out that Laravel has a local mailer. And you don't even have to install it. That's the crazy part. Is so if you just open Mail, or go to Homestead Docs and you go to the Mail section, not open it. Not everything's a file. I guess technically this is, but I digress. Homestead includes the Postfix mail transfer agent, which is listening on port 1025 by default, so you may instruct your application to use the SMTP mail driver on localhost port 1025. Then all sent mail will be handled by Postfix and caught by Mailhog. To view your sent mail, you can go here. And so I have not set up this part yet, but I definitely will. And so basically all this is saying is once you follow these instructions right here, then on your local development you can go to cleancode.mission, and then you can go 8025, and this is where your inbox mail. So instead of using something like Mailtrap, you can just actually have this set up within your local environment. Pretty cool stuff. And actually one of the things I did is right here, if we go to web.php, instead of having to type in that port every time, I just said if we're in the local environment, then you can just go to local emails. And so if you go to local emails, and it goes there. So just a pretty cool setup. Yeah, I love that. So all my local emails will be caught there. After that, I also have added this schedule true command. That sets up local cron jobs. And so if we go back to homestead.yaml and we go to cron, configuring cron schedules, it says, okay, Laravel provides a convenient way to schedule cron jobs by scheduling a single schedule run artisan command to be run every minute. The schedule run command will examine the job schedule defined in your app console kernel class to determine which jobs should be run. If you would like the schedule run command to be run for a Homestead site, you may set the schedule option to true when defining the site. The cron jobs for the site will be defined in the etc/cron.d folder of your virtual machine. So what's this mean? Well, if we go and we go, not there, and we go right here, I'm going to SSH into my virtual machine. And again, this is Homestead. It's using Vagrant. We have a whole tutorial on how to actually set this up. But if we go to etc, we do ls, I'm actually going to look up what that was one more time. Where was that at? Cron. And that is going to be, where was that? That said etc somewhere, right? etc slash, and then it was going to be .d. There was a .d in there, I know that. No. There it is, etc/cron.d. So, and then if we go cd cron.d, we do ls, there we go. So we have clean code, we have php, sitstat, clean code mission, clean code dev, and I'm not sure which one actually has the crons yet. So clean code dev, there we go. So clean code dev has that. Then if we do cat clean code mission, what do you got going? Clean code mission also has that. Cat clean code studio, again, also has that. Cat php. Look for and purge old sessions every 30 minutes. And system stat. There we go. So yeah, that's all of our cron job stuff set up locally. So we have emails. We have the ability to define our PHP version. We have our database. We have the ability to easily run local cron jobs. Like right there, that's like 3 or 4 of the most annoying things to get set up locally, and it's just done. It just works. But there's more. There is more. The last, I guess this isn't the last thing. So we can also run Docker. And so if we go back up here and we go to CD code again in the virtual machine, not within, did I press Control C? I did. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. So now if we do ls, I'm in my project directory on my virtual machine. And again, we know it's code because we said that Clean Code Studio, my local file path, is pointed to home Vagrant code. And so, Vagrant being the user, we're logged in as the Vagrant user, we can just cd into code, and we're good to go. So now, after that, what do we got going? Okay. So, we should be able to use Docker. Yeah, there we go. And now if we want to do Docker and pull anything, like pull, I don't know. Let's go open Docker. Well, let's go open google.com. I'm actually going to go to drive.google.com. And from here, I've got a whole bunch of resources right here, right? And whatever I'm looking for, ooh, I kind of forgot what I'm looking for, I'm going to be honest. No, Control Z that. Oh, that's gone. Okay. What was I looking for? Homestead, email, JavaScript, tooling, OS, Chrome debugging, Laravel mix, installing Git. Thought I had a Docker. I was showing my buddy who's a financial analyst, he just graduated, how to do some stuff in Excel, and I made the stupid decision of using the spreadsheet and messing a lot of it up. But I have a spreadsheet, guys, where I just keep everything that I work on. Really useful, and honestly, Google Spreadsheets has gotten a lot better, so you can do like, I know this is off topic, but you can do this, and if you want to look up like Docker in the link, that's Command K, and then we'll automatically add Docker. It will use Google search inside Google Spreadsheets, so that makes it really easy. Pretty cool stuff, but that's off topic. I was looking for Docker, so let's go Docker packages and Docker Hub. That's what I was looking for, Docker Hub. And while we're here, I'm going to make this really quick. Let's do Command K, and then we're going to do that. We're going to do Docker Hub. There we go. Okay, so if we explore and we can go to like AWS CLI, for example, or SAM CLI. No. Yes. SAM CLI, and there used to be a specific one I use, but where we at? Where we at? Base 2 SAM CLI. I need to find it again. But basically, SAM CLI is for AWS, the serverless cloud setup. And it's a framework around serverless and creating lambdas and some other stuff. And it's really cool. And there's a Docker package for it. There's also a WebStorm plugin. It's the first plugin that I have ever seen for AWS specifically that only works on WebStorm and not PHP Storm. But we used to use a Docker container for it. The next thing I want to show you guys is if you want to use Laravel Dusk in Homestead, you set WebDriver to true. And then the last thing I've got is, actually no, two more still. Vagrant SSH. If we Vagrant go into our SSH machine, I think I'm already in it, aren't I? Yeah. Okay. If we go up here and we do clear and we do oh no, I don't. Oh yeah, just OhMyZsh. That just makes this pretty. So if we go cd that, and then we do cat.zshrc, and then we went and we did nano. I know I don't use Vim, you guys. I'm not that cool. I use nano still. Don't know how to use Vim well enough, so, and never learned. And then we can change our theme to agnoster. Exit out of that. Man, it's been a while since I've been in nano. Yes. All right. And then we can control.exit. I've been in Node way too much. .exit is to exit out of Node. And then we can do Vagrant reload -- provision. Hopefully that will actually persist. I've never actually tried changing the theme. I've just always used the default theme when using ZSH on Homestead. But agnoster is the theme I have locally. So I'm seeing if I can set up this terminal theme within the Homestead as well, which I'm not even sure I like. I kind of like having different themes. I know if I'm on SSH or not, or SSH'd in. So then after that, the next thing I want to show you guys is Minio. Now, how many people have had to work with AWS when creating a Laravel project, right? It can be extremely annoying to try to replicate like the S3 bucket from AWS within local development. But like many other things, Homestead's got you covered. Minio is an open source object storage server with an Amazon S3 compatible API. This means that you can set this up and basically use the same Laravel methods. And it's basically like it has the same interface. So it's like Amazon S3 uses an interface, Minio uses that same interface. They both have the same methods. Technically, they don't do the same thing behind the scenes precisely, but they're close enough, and the interface to interact with them is the same. So, to get this set up, you can just update your S3 credentials in config-filesystem.php. That's right. And then you'll need to add the use path style endpoint option to the disk configuration, as well as change the URL key to endpoint. What's this mean? Basically, copy this stuff right there. Go to file system, config/filesystem, and if we scroll down to S3, we go right here. Ooh, was that different? No, that was the same. Just like that. And then if we go to our .env.local and this right here. And where is that? So I'm going to just do this. We're going to do comment. And we're going to do, what is that? That is going to be, by the way, you can reference other env variables by using this $sign. It's like JavaScript. And we can do app URL, just like that there. And once that is set up, I would have to do a Vagrant reload again. So let's do that, and I'll show you one more thing that I wasn't planning on showing you guys, but is still pretty cool, so I will, and because we've got to get this set up anyways. So I'm going to copy this over now, because this is just to my .env.local. I'm going to copy this over to my .env, and it's just going to be this. And so once we do that, and once our machine boots, we should be able to go to this endpoint and be good to go. But like my local emails, oh, did you just freeze on me? There we go. Like my local emails, I'm going to add a new route that is local S3 or local storage. Yeah, local storage works. And that's going to be 9023. If we go back to .env.local, nope, 9600. 9600. I never remember those, so I just make like a whole bunch of local for local. And then we'll SSH in there real quick. See if that agnostor did work. Look at that. The colors are a little off, but if we go CD code, look at that. That's awesome. And you can get rid of that first bar right there. You can just Google it. It's .zshrc theme agnostor change settings or change look or whatever you want to Google. It's pretty easy to find, but there is a way to configure this bar to look exactly how you want it to look. But the last thing there's still more. There's just so much you can do with Homestead. That's why I love it. I need a quiz saying 2 more things because I always think of another one. You can add aliases here. And so you have serve, PHP unit, codesep, xon. And so because we're in our virtual machine, we can do xon. That turns xdebug on. We can do x off. That turns xdebug off. We can do Dusk. And I don't have it installed, so it'd be, yeah, I don't have it installed, so that's not going to work. And then we can actually switch PHP versions. PHP 7.3. And then we can switch back to PHP 7.4. We can switch between Apache and Nginx. We can serve proxies. We can do, I've actually never used that one. Don't know what that is. Serve Symfony 2, Symfony 4 if you have a Symfony site for Homestead setup. Don't know what Pigmore is. And then here it is. Share. Check this out. Share domain, and then it's going to be share, and then it's going to be cleancode.mission. Just like that. What does this do? This actually allows you to visit this site from anywhere. And so, like on the internet, it's on the internet. So right now, if, I don't know, is there any site that will show iframe of other sites? I'm trying to figure out if there's a way for us. Well, let's try this. Let's try Drive. Ooh, no, let's go back to google.com. Here's what we can do. We can do inspect. And then right here, sorry Google image, I know you're kind of like a big deal and all, but we're going to use you as an example. And actually, let's make this simpler. We'll go to Web Schools, iframe example. And just to show you that it works, we're going to change the source of the iframe to that URL. And now if we run it, oh, come on. Does it need to be HTTPS? No way. Oh, hey, there it is. So yeah, and of course if we did like style equals width 500px, height 500px, it actually works. I guess we'll get rid of that. It actually works. In comparison, if we try to get cleancode.mission, I don't believe this will work because that's a local site. Oh, I guess it does. Okay, so I guess I don't know how to prove that actually works because that's using my local DNS outside of purple. Ow, I about said my password out loud. Not really. I totally did. That was the first part of my password. Still want to guess the second part. I don't think. Possibly, maybe, so I don't know. Okay, so let's go to cleancode.mission, and we'll comment that out. And then, definitely not starting with purple there. Does not, I promise. We'll go right here. We'll rerun this. Go right here. We'll rerun this. Okay, how is that still loading? That shouldn't still be loading. Oh, you know what it is. I know why that's still loading. It doesn't matter that I removed it from my DNS. But basically, it shares the site over the internet. I'm struggling here, guys. But yeah, that will definitely absolutely share it over the internet. And I just apparently can't get a computer to work. And so it just creates a random site. And if you go to localhost 80, I'm not sure what that does. Oh, hey, there we go. If we go cleancode.mission, it still works. Nope. Okay, so cleancode.mission does not work anymore. Yeah, there we go. But if we go to here, boom. So when I removed it from my DNS, that did work. And so what it's trying to do, there we go. So I broke it locally, but we can still access it via the internet. And the status is going to be that. So what if we go and we go here? Yeah, there we go. And so now we can access it over the internet, and I broke it locally. I didn't really break it. So I'm going to bring that back online by adding cleancode.mission back to my DNS. And let's see, cleancode.mission. So that's really cool, especially when you're working remote. You can share your code across the internet with other developers. Or even like if you guys have a Q&A team or review team, if you guys are that size of company and, you know, really have like the full stack, that's an easy way to have a QA person review your code before you actually go through the process of merge and build checks and all that jazz. And so it's pretty cool. I love Share, and that's so easy in Homestead. The last thing I want to show you guys is a plugin I found a while back that's actually for Vagrant. And it's going to be called Vagrant. Okay, what is it? It's going to be Vagrant Host Updater and Vagrant Host Manager. And what this does is in our Homestead tutorial, I told you guys that we had to go to our host and our DNS and update that every time. But if you go to Vagrant and you install that tool, and I hope this isn't, I really don't know what this information is. I hope it's not personal information. Please don't hack me. I'm not good enough to know how to defend it. Like, seriously, I don't know anything about hacking. But here's what it is it has a Vagrant key, just like that, and that just means that all of these sites, they were added automatically by Vagrant. I'm actually going to probably blur all these out. I'm sorry. I'm a little paranoid. But I don't have to actually update my host anymore. So literally all I do is I do composer require laravel/homestead-dev and vendor/bin/homestead make or init. And then I do sublime and then homestead.yaml. I update my YAML file, and as soon as I'm done updating my YAML file, then I go on after updating YAML, I run Vagrant up provision. And that's how I get my, that is the command to get a Laravel environment set up locally. If you want to add one more to that, Vagrant SSH. And because of this host updater or host manager plugin, I think I only have one. I can't remember which it was. Vagrant host updater. Let's see. Let us review. Okay. Plugin adds entries. Yeah. And I'll post this down below. I love this plugin, guys. It just makes life so much better. I don't know what it is, but go into your etc/host. It's actually really quick once you understand it. But this thing is awesome. It's host updater. The Vagrant plugin install host updater. And all it's going to do is just add stuff. Just add the proper IP address with the given domain name to your host file without you needing to manually do it, which is just awesome. So if you install this plugin and you already have Vagrant installed, it's literally Vagrant install Vagrant-host updater. The first time you up it, it's going to take a sec. I thought I broke something at first because it took, it wasn't the longest install in the world, but it was probably 5-10 minutes. But once you do that, guys, every time you get a Laravel project set up, this is the command you run, and you're good to go. You got Vagrant, you got SSH, you have the aliases, and if you really wanted to, you could just, where do we go? set up this command and configure your Homestead virtual machine exactly how you want to, because this runs after Homestead boots. It's going to run this. If you'd like to do some extra provisioning, you may add any commands you wish to this file, and they will be run after the Homestead machine is provisioned. If you have user-specific configurations you would like to apply, you may also create user-customizations.sh, and then you add that user-customizations.sh to your .gitignore. And so these would be your custom modifications to your Vagrant machine that won't affect the rest of your team, because when you add user-customizations.sh, you go here and then you say .user-customizations.sh. That way you can add your own Homestead provisioning, your own Homestead environment settings without affecting anyone on your team. Yeah, this I'm just gonna yeah. Woo. Okay, so the last thing we had was, if we went to our .env and we went to, don't have to look at the port because we added cleancode.mission/ and then it was local storage. I've actually never gone to this endpoint, but there we go. Access key. Key ID is Homestead. Access key is secret. Or was that secret key? Yeah, there we go. And so now we have an AWS like setup, and it follows the AWS API. So choose or create a new path, and we can just, it's AWS S3 buckets locally. I mean, it's amazing. Not that I've ever actually used it. I just found this also the other day. But we could say like assets, right? And then within and then if we go Vagrant SSH, and I actually forget, open Laravel.com/ and we'll just go there because I can't remember exactly what I'm looking for. Image upload, file upload, upload files, digging deeper, file storage. There we go. That's the word. Okay, so I want to use the storage facade. Yeah, that seems like it's out of scope. Not that this whole thing had a very solid scope, but basically, you add files. They go here. Looks like there's in-depth documentation. You can change your password. You can even go full screen. That's nice. And if we go to GitHub, what does Minio say? Stack channel. Ooh, they have a stack channel. Like they have a Docker too, which we could have pulled this in using Docker instead of Homestead because we have Docker within our Homestead. But we're just using Homestead. And so this is pretty cool. We can mock our S3 buckets locally. We can mock our cron jobs locally. Let's go through this one last time. What are we doing? We got Homestead set up. This is our local environment. And we can mock just about anything. Probably not anything. We can't mock like, I don't know, pizza. I wish we could have like fake real pizza, but we don't. But okay, Laravel Homestead Virtual Machine, Laravel Spark, Laravel Nova. That's just my setup. Not very important for the Homestead. Ooh, yeah. Here's another one. HTTPS. And I'll post all of these resources below. Notice that when I go to cleancode.mission, I get redirected. Oh, of course I don't this time. If I log in, I'll get redirected, right? No? Well, that just kind of, well, I don't even know what happened. I had There we go. I just lost my redirect somehow. But notice my certificate is valid. I have a valid HTTPS certificate on local development. How did I do that? Well, this blog right here goes through it. Basically, all you need to do is you get this, you go to the certificate, you drag this out to the local, and then once you have that local, where is it? There we go. Then you have to go to your keychain access. Then you simply go to this keychain, you add that certificate right here. I'm not going to add it because I already have that one. I'm not sure what that does. And then you add the, you double click it once you add it, and you change this from use system defaults to always trust. And then you restart Google altogether. It's just easiest to exit out and reopen Google. And then you have HTTPS set up locally. Now, the last thing I want to do, and I'll show you guys this, just be really, you better go to HTTP. Okay. I hate when things break and then they fix themselves, because then I'm just like, are you going to break again? Like, if you're broken, I just want to fix you and then like not have it happen again. But okay, so I need to get rid of that right there, and I'm going to get rid of that right there. We want to go and enforce every route to use HTTPS. To do that, we're going to go to providers. We're going to go to our route service provider. That should definitely be enforcing HTTPS. I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure why that's not enforcing HTTPS. It totally should be. By the way, if you want to add global route group like prefix, whatever you want to do, here's all of your API routes. Here's all of your web routes. And they're registered within the route service provider. And so when you set them up here, if you want to like change, I don't know, the prefixed API, and let's do this. We're just getting into all types of interesting tips and tricks. No scope or anything. I'm sure it's like, is there any point to this? No, there's not. And then we go route list. Well, right now, and let's just do route list, and then let's go columns equals. Scroll up. What is that? It's going to be name and URI. Let's just go name and URI. There we go. Okay, do we have any API routes? We don't. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. I checked out an older branch. I don't want to give away any of the goods. So let's just do this. We'll do route get hello, and then we'll do function. That's going to return hello world. Do that. MIN. Ow. I must need to change some of that up. I feel like I messed up my PHP Storm at some point, and I'm just not willing to admit that I messed it up because I don't want to fix it. You know? Like, have you ever had that? Like, you know you mess something up, you just don't want to mess it up. Or you just don't want to fix it? I don't know. Maybe just me. Okay, so now if we go here, we should have API. See, we have API hello right there? Well, if we go back to our route service provider and we change this to application, please never do this, programming interface. API is the only acceptable acronym because the counter is this. But say you just hate APIs beyond measure. You can go right there and you can do this. Then if you scroll up, all of your API routes, instead of being API, they're going to be application programming interface and then hello. of course, if we copy that and we go to our browser and we try to hit that, whoop, go back one more time. We go hello. We have some middleware on it. I forgot I'm using Spark, so I need to add the middleware cookie, all that good stuff. Is that going to work if I just log in? No, it's not. Okay, that's out of scope too, but basically there is in Spark, and Spark is awesome. Nova's awesome. I recommend you guys get them at some point. I guess we can just, let's do tutorial at this point. Is this a tutorial? I don't know. I feel like it's a terrible one if it is. Here's your new API. This is the only time the token will ever display. So what do I want to do? I'm not even sure if I remember how to do this right, guys. I haven't used Spark's API in a minute. And then we're going to say token equals that. Yeah. I don't remember how to do it. Basically, that token you can use to authenticate yourself, and it will give you access to your API. Locally, you can hit this, though, using AJAX request, which I don't know why I didn't just do. That is how we'll hit this, because it automatically adds the proper authentication to your Axios. So now, if we go /application programming interface /hello, and then we did .then response equals console.log. What are we going to get? You going to work? Did it return? Yeah, there we go. We got hello world. I'm just not sure. Oh, you know what? I'm just not doing well today. There we go. And so then it returns. And yeah, so hello world works. And then of course, if we go back to our route groups, we change this back to API. And then we go back here and we get rid of this horrendously long URI, and we replace application programming interface with API. Do the same thing. We get our data again. And no, we do not need to reload our page because that is a PHP and we're using JavaScript. And every time you send AJAX to the backend to hit PHP, it's like you're re-executing the entirety of the application. It's just another request. So, yeah, I guess that's a good walkthrough on how I set up my local environment. As you can see, I'm constantly fiddling with stuff. I'm not sure how to use all of this stuff yet. I'm just kind of learning every day along with the rest of everybody else, and seeing what works, seeing what I like, seeing what I don't, and hopefully making some stuff that's worth making. But one of the big ones that I do try to understand is how to properly set up the local environment, because I feel like that's just one of the most annoying things in the world, and not setting it up right is just, I don't know, makes things a lot harder in the long run. So that is how I set up my local script. By the way, you can also debug CLI applications using this. Haven't tried that out yet. I have read a lot of these options though. You can configure Blackfire, which it does cost money, but Blackfire I have heard very good things about. Never personally used it. I do know that Taylor Otwell uses it personally, the creator of Laravel. So I imagine it's pretty good. But it basically is like xdebug on steroids, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to see if I can get a free Blackfire account so I can give you guys a tutorial. I'm saying, hey, I don't think we're big enough yet, so we'll see where it goes. But I'm trying to trade him a free Blackfire, I guess, membership, for lack of a better word, in exchange for a in-depth tutorial / how-to on Blackfire. So I'm hoping that goes through, but again, we're still pretty small. Don't think it will. You can do network interfaces. This allows you to set it up so you can access your Homestead site over your local network. You could also, of course, use Vagrant Share, but a lot of people don't want to set that up and give people public access to a local website. Personally, I rarely mind when it's my personal projects, just because the chances of anybody finding it are low, and if they do find it, I'm not really sure what they could do. And, if they do mess it up, it's in Git. If they steal it, competition's on. I love competition. Let's go. Let's see who can make it better. So share doesn't concern me, but if you do have a problem with share, look into this. I've never personally done it, but I know you can use this to set up public access on the local home network or company network. And so other people on that network can access your internal Homestead site. And so, yeah, pretty cool stuff there. Extending Homestead, never done that. User customizations, we already kind of went through that. This should always be added to your gitignore in case you want to customize Homestead on your personal machine without affecting anyone else's on your teams. It's like .env. You never actually push .env. You have templates for .env.local, .env.stage, .env.prod, right? This is the same thing. But the real .env is never actually added to Git. You add .env to your gitignore. And so your gitignore simply says, hey, don't actually add this to Git. This doesn't get added to GitHub. These do, but this doesn't. And so you want to do the same thing with a .user customizations. You want to add it to your .gitignore, and then those user customizations will be user specific. They'll be your specific environment set up, your personal preferences, you being the user, and not affect the rest of your team. Updating Homestead, Vagrant destroy. Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually had to update Homestead. Not that I haven't. I feel like, I don't know. They make that easy. They just give you an option. NAT DNS resolver. Homestead configures the NAT DNS resolver setting to on. This allows Homestead to use your host's operating system's DNS settings. If you would like to override this behavior, add the following lines to your homestead.yaml. No idea what that means. This is an important one for Windows users. If symbolic links are not working properly on your Windows machine, you may need to add the following block to your Vagrant file. So config VM provider VirtualBox my opinion, just don't use Windows for web development. They're great at other things. Bill Gates, heck of a guy. Windows, not for web development. Just other things, sure. Real-time audio processing, fast Fourier transform matrices kind of stuff. Sure, not for web development. Accessing Homestead globally. I've never set that up. I don't really know why you'd need to. Yeah. So that's what we got today. And let's just go. We'll make this quicker. Database snapshots. Accessing Homestead globally. Okay, so yeah, I have set that up. You can set up Homestead globally. I never do this. So instead of requiring it through Composer Require and setting up on a project by project basis, you have one centralized place where all of your Homestead sites are added. I never do that. I don't know why you would. Other than that, though, we went through accessing Homestead globally. No, we did not go through that. We did go through connecting via SSH, connecting to databases as in the other tutorial. Database backups, backup true. What will this do? You must install the Vagrant Triggers plugin, enable automatic database, follow the line, Yeah. Database snapshots. Homestead supports freezing the state of MySQL and MariaDB databases and branching between them using logical MySQL manager. For example, imagine working on a site with a multi-gigabyte. I guess that's not too bad. Multi-gigabyte database. You can import the database and take a snapshot. After doing some work and creating some test content locally, you may quickly restore back to the original state. Under the hood, okay. You can add multiple sites, by the way. So this is not me reading from the docs, sounding way overly excited. This is like, and I have a Laravel Sanctum tutorial. I know exactly how to make it at this point. I just haven't. I don't know. I guess I lost a little bit of the interest in Sanctum. And it's not that it's not cool. I'm just, other stuff have been more interesting lately, so I figured I'd be working on those. But for Laravel Sanctum, you create a front-end spa, and you create a Laravel Homestead. You create a front-end spa, and then you create your Laravel backend as the API. You need to add 2 sites to get Sanctum set up. Your Homestead, you can set up more than 1 site. That's the point there. Again, if you're using that Vagrant host updater plugin, you don't have to worry about this. Site updates, you can actually add types of sites. So by default, it will use Nginx. Obviously, it will look into the public directory for like Laravel. But you can set up Apache, and then the rest of these, I'm not sure what the rest of those really are. Symfony 2, Symfony 4, I do. Maybe that's like, is it Zen framework? Maybe? I don't know. You can add additional Nginx fast CGI params. Don't know what that means. Values to your site via the param site directory. For example, we'll add a foo parameter with a value bar. I think those are global, global query parameters that it just defaults to, and so it will be like foo equals bar automatically. Could be wrong. Never actually set that up or tried those, but that's my guess. Next, you have global environment variables. Okay, so global environment variables, again, I have not set these up, but this will update. One sec. Be sure to re-provision the machine by running Vagrant reload. This will update the PHP FPM configuration for all of your installed app versions and also update the environment for the Vagrant user. Okay, I could be wrong about this. It sounds like, so yeah, those are AppEnv and foo. I always kind of thought these would be like on AWS. You can define global environment variables. And those global environment variables, they're server level global environment variables. And you usually, if it's a Lambda in JavaScript, for example, it will have access to the server level environment variables. And then within Laravel, what we had to do actually at a prior job I was working on was we had to set up something funky to get the server environment variables and load them into Laravel before Laravel actually loaded. And I think this could replace that funkiness. I think you can just set up the actual environment variables here without having to worry about preloading like server environment variables. So again, never actually used it, but that would be my assumption. Wildcard SSL. So this would be like you set up foo.domain.test, but when you make it a wildcard, it lets you go like foo, boo, goo, do, and they don't have to rhyme, of course. So you could do like rut, lut, mutt. Oh wow, those are a lot of negative words. Happy, Santa Claus, Christmas, foo 3, yeah. So that's what wildcard SSL is. If the use wildcard option is set to no, the wildcard certificate will be generated but will not be used. Configuring cron schedules, we went through. Mailhog allows you to easily catch your outgoing emails and examine it without actually sending the mail to recipients. To get started, update your .env file to use the following mail settings. Once Mailhog has been configured, you may access the mail dashboard at, I'm actually going to try this real quick because we have the other mail settings set up. I guess we are using Mailhog. Okay, sweet. We got Mailhog. So yeah, Mailhog, catch outgoing emails locally. Minio, I think that's how you pronounce it. That is just local S3 bucket mocking which is hugely helpful. To provision buckets, add a bucket directive to your... Ooh, I didn't even see this. Supported policy values include none, download, upload. Okay, so those are like almost like AWS IAM policies, maybe? Maybe. I don't know. But basically this is saying add a buckets directive to your Homestead configuration. And Homestead is going to be right here. And it's just going to be like this, right? And so all we're going to do is, now I'm actually going to go and move these down. I don't think the order matters. But to me, that just looks a little bit better. So we're going to go here. And we're going to just exit out of that. And then we're going to say Vagrant reload provision. Provision -- provision just says, hey, I made some changes to my homestead.yaml. Please use them. Please update your server environment using those updates. Okay, then ports. Here are all the ports. Minio, Mailhog, if you have MongoDB, if you have PostgreSQL, MySQL, HTTPS, HTTP, Nginx UI. No idea what Nginx is. And then SSH, obviously. If you want to do additional port forwarding, then you can do this. So again, not very familiar with networking. I have looked into UDP a little bit. I was trying some really funky stuff. To be honest, I don't think I ever learned what it was. Yeah, learn things all the way through. Learning things halfway is just so, I don't even know. It's like jumping off cliffs and then just hardly making it and then going and jumping off again. You just want to learn everything all the way through if you can. Some things are like design principles you have to go through over and over. But UDP, I should probably know. I'm kind of upset at myself for not learning that all the way through. And then we did the share homestead. Here are the options. You can do like a subdomain. Multiple PHP versions, define the default, and then you can always run, and actually you can run just the PHP version itself, it will switch it over, or you can do like PHP and then pipe the command into that PHP version. Pretty cool stuff. Flip. Now this one's interesting. This lets you flip between Apache and Nginx. So you can install Nginx and Apache at the same time, and then it will switch from Nginx to Apache, and then from Apache to Nginx. Have no idea why you would ever use this, but maybe you do. I don't know. I don't know what your thing is. I mean, there's so many things you can do out there. I have no idea. But that one's weird. I can hardly deal with one at a time. But still cool. Let's see. Homestead includes support for step debugging using xdebug. For example, you can load a web page from a browser, and PHP will connect to your IDE, allow inspection and modification of the running code. By default, xdebug is already running and ready to accept connections. If you need to enable xdebug on the CLI, run sudo php nmod xdebug, aka xon as the alias, I believe. Where was that? That was in... Yeah, sometimes when you have that Vagrant host updater file, it will ask for your password so we can actually update your host file. I forget about that a lot. Then if you go aliases, and then we did, what is it? Xon. Let's do... Yeah, so that's what xon and xoff actually do. So notice that it's saying sudo php nmod xdebug. In our aliases file, it does that for us. We don't need to care about it. And then to debug a PHP CLI application using the xphp shell alias inside your Vagrant box. So auto-starting xdebug. When debugging functional tests that make requests to the web server, it is easier to auto-start debugging rather than modifying tests to pass through a custom header or cookie to trigger debugging. To force xdebug to start automatically, modify etc/php/7.x fpm conf.e inside your Vagrant box and add the following configuration. So, I'm going to be honest. I'm not really sure what that means. If homestead.yaml contains a different subnet for the IP address, this address may be different. So I think auto start what's throwing me off here is when debugging functional tests that make requests to the web server. Oh. Okay. I think what that's doing is it's saying if you have functional tests that need a request, I'm not sure that functional. I'm thinking functional programming. Maybe they mean something else by functional, but technically functional programming doesn't depend on extraneous state. By definition, if the test depends on a request, that is extraneous state. It's not pure. Or I guess maybe it could be. Maybe no, it couldn't. It's a request. But maybe they mean something else by functional. Maybe they mean like a normal test, and just a normal test that depends on a mock request. And so what you can do is it's saying instead of mocking that request, you can just force xdebug to start automatically, and it will just do that and run the test when it starts automatically. I don't know. I could be way off there. I'm really shooting in the dark. Blackfire we went over. Profiling PHP performance, that's very similar to Blackfire. Is a user interface exploring the performance of your PHP application to enable Well, let's set that up. I was looking to use Blackfire, but I'm not sure if that's actually going to work out. Was it only for Apache? I hope that's not only for Apache. Let's see. Built on MongoDB. Okay. I kind of like where they're going with that. I was really tempted to use MongoDB actually for this site, but I didn't. I didn't because of Nova actually. I wasn't sure Nova worked with Mongo. So clone or download xHGUI from GitHub, point your web server to the web root. Set the permissions on the cache directory. Huh. That is interesting. Okay, so it looks like it's using, Nginx right here. So we should be able to use this with Nginx. So let's try this. Let's go to homestead.yaml. And then we're simply going to say, hey, this is true now. And we're going to do that same Vagrant reload provision. And if that reloads properly, this is interesting. If we could get a free Blackfire, basically, I'd be down. To profile a CLI request using xHGUI, prefix the command with xHGUI is on. Okay. The site already exists. Make sure to run. Already did that. To profile a web request, add as a query parameter to a request. Attach xHGUI will automatically attach a cookie. Cookie being a file that is saved to your browser. Is that right? I can't remember if that. Yeah, I think that's cookie. It's just saved in your browser. It's just a file saved in your browser. We can actually find out real quick. Network. Where are we going? Local cookies. Here's the cookies. Yeah. So those are your cookies. They just get saved to your browser. Technically, they are small files if I'm remembering right. And they have an expiration, a size. secure, HTTP, same site, priority, all that good stuff. So it looks like if we go, once this is booted, do we need to actually set up MongoDB? If we do, I am not going to do that right now. CLI profile results may be viewed in the same way as web profile results. Note that the act of profiling slows down script execution, and absolute times may be as much as twice as real-world requests. Therefore, always compare percentage improvement, not absolute numbers. Also, be aware the execution time includes only any time spent paused in a debugger. Since it includes, on addition to the original time, any time spent paused in the debugger. Since performance profiles take up significant disk space, they are deleted automatically after a few days. Okay, so we'll try that out in a sec. And then I think we're all the way through all the things you can do in VirtualBox. Sorry, Homestead. So yeah, that is a Homestead setup, and it is pretty, it covers the bases, and for what it doesn't cover the bases on, it has Docker. But honestly, I never use Docker, like ever, when I can avoid it. Not that I try to avoid Docker. Docker's amazing too. I just never need it. I can always just use, all these things we just went through. Homestead has them all. And so it's just incredible. So I guess what we can do is we can go back to Clean Code Mission while we're waiting for that. We can go local storage. And, hey, we did get buckets. Okay. Let's go your bucket. And then let's just go assets. That create assets, right? That would just be that. Choose less modified size. I'm not really sure. Oh, you know what? It's pieces provisioning. Maybe I can do this. Upload file. What do I got? I'm not even sure what photos I got on here. Oh boy, that's great. That's good. That works. Okay. So yeah, now we have that. And then we can create a new bucket through here. If we can do clean code, or maybe let's do edit policy. Ooh, there we go. Write only, read and write, and then prefix. What are we prefixing? Simplify, read and write, prefix, read only, read and write, write only. Simplify. Edit policy. I'm not sure what that prefix does. But anyways, pretty cool stuff. Oh, my bad. We're still going. We're not done. Zend modules API number. Yeah, I'm going to pause this and wait for this to get done. Mainly because it's going way longer than I initially thought. Kind of got curious, started digging around. Figured taking you guys along for the ride wouldn't hurt anybody. So I'm going to pause this for now. We'll get back to it. Okay, so that finally installed. And again, that is XHGUI that we're trying to get set up. And so what it says is if you want to profile the command line, you have to add to profile web request, add XHGUI equals on as a query parameter to a request. right? Additionally, attach a cookie to the response so that subsequent requests do not need the query string value. You may view your application profile results by browsing here. And so what I did was I didn't attach the cookie. I'm not even going to try to get that set up in this. I'll have to mess around with that. But I did hit the request, and then I went to xHGUI. Now, this is actually really cool. As a lot of you know, like the other big, ironic, big, it's actually a micro framework. The other PHP framework that this channel, Clean Code Studio, is big on is actually Slim. Well, xHGUI got a Slim error. So xHGUI actually uses Slim, which is just straight up awesome. So now we got some Slim with our Laravel, and I do not mind that one bit. But basically, here is the error. The get magic quotes GPC function is depreciated or deprecated. And after doing a bit of digging, where was it? Where was I digging? I was digging somewhere. That method is depreciated or deprecated. So what we're going to do is we're going to do PHP, let's do 7.1. We're just going to switch over our PHP version. Is that right? Is that PHP? Let's go here. We'll go PHP 7. 7.1. No period. PHP 7.1. All right. So let's see if 7.1 has those query information. Still no? Okay. Yeah, if we don't get this fixed here in a sec, I'm going to just call it a day and say we covered a lot more than I thought we would. xHGUI Homestead method. What method was that? And then it's going to be that is deprecated. Okay. Yeah, also seeing this warning. The warning message appears in the admin dashboard and gives further warnings from WordPress. Yeah, you can use Homestead for WordPress. The plugin only uses get magic quote GPS for backwards compatibility with very old sites that still have that method enabled. It looks like simply skipping that part of the code if the PHP version is 7.4 or newer should be safe enough. And also, fix the warning. Please try this patched version. Oh boy. Yeah, this looks like we're going to have to do some digging. Menu editor core.php. Could we just add? I don't know. Where would that code be coming from? So that's going to be cd/opt cd xHGUI, and then first let's cat composer.json. What PHP version do they got going? Whoa, PSR0. Actually, PSR0 might still be around. They do not. Okay. So they're using PHP 5.6 or 7.0. We have PHP 7.0. The current PHP version is 7.1. So let's go PHP 7.0 without a space. Switch over to that, and let's see if that worked. And it did not. Okay, so I guess the last thing I can think to try is, I guess we can go PHP 5.6, which will definitely break our application if we haven't already, and then Nginx service and then PHP restart, is that right? PHP, what is it? Service status all. I can't remember what it is. Service restart PHP. Service PHP restart. Okay. Yeah, I guess last thing we'll try then, because I really don't want to go into debugging this right now. I don't need it. I was hoping to get some Clean Code Studio stuff done today. Still have Docker. So cd config ls cat config.php. And what are we doing? Well, that said we could turn it off, right? We could turn or just comment out the method because it's not actually being used, which in a way definitely makes me mad that it's even there. What is it? Correct variable index in reaction to new XGUI option being added. Site. For the shell scripts, I think this could be refactored. The Nginx templates are substantially similar. To profile a web request. So let's see if this even works right now. If we can go to this and we say on. Yeah, so that's not even gonna work. So let's change back. Let's just get out of here. This has gone long enough. We went over some pretty cool stuff, and maybe I'll figure that out and we can dive into it. But I'm going to switch back to PHP 7.4. PHP version. God, that is awesome. And then we're going to go HTTP clean code.mission. Oh, I guess that doesn't work from here. Clean code.mission because I'm in my virtual machine. It didn't work. So sad. And this works again. So that is an overview of how I like to set up my Homestead environment, and also kind of how I go and test things out. I don't know. Maybe this bored the heck out of a lot of you. I'm sure if it did, you guys want to be here at this point. So hopefully, if you got to this point, the reviews will be pretty positive. But that's a lot of stuff, guys. Let's just cover it real quick. We have Homestead set up by using the Vagrant host updater plugin. We are able to literally just compose a require, Vagrant init, and then configure our Homestead and then run Vagrant up. Like, we can make that a single command to get it installed and open up our Homestead file. So after that, we installed a few optional features. Our optional features included the .zsh the OhMyZsh, true, the WebDriver for Dusk test, MariaDB. I think that comes installed with Homestead, but that's set to false. I don't think I ever added MariaDB, so that's just set to default by default. Then we added Docker and Minio. Now, Docker is obviously Docker. That needs no introduction. And then Minio is the storage, the local S3 mocking we set up. OhMyZsh is the command line tool. WebDriver is for Selenium, which Dusk uses to run browser tests. And Laravel Dusk is a Laravel thing. We also have our database set up. And then we said, okay, we want to use PHP 7.4. We want to schedule a runner to give us the ability to run cron jobs, and this will check for cron jobs and run any cron jobs that need to be executed as quickly as 1 a minute. But Laravel actually has a wrapper that lets you say, hey, I only want to run this cron job once every 5 days, etc., etc. The only place we went really wrong was the XHGUI, and we weren't able to get that set up. That looks like it has something to do with PHP versioning. We also went over how to set up a SSH for a verified, valid security certificate. And then we went over, what else did we go over? Environment variables, wildcards, local mailing, how to share our environment across the internet, how to switch PHP versions, and how to set up xdebug. We didn't use xdebug, but how to set it up. And then we went over some other stuff. I mean, yeah, you know, if that's not enough for you, then well, thank you for your high standards. I'll be better. But yeah, I mean that's why I love using Laravel Homestead. It's powerful, it's flexible, it's just all in all. Oh yeah, they have rsync options, by the way. It's all in all just incredible, and I highly recommend it. And if you say I like Docker, well, it's got Docker. You know, use the best of both worlds. That's my recommendation. It has a list of all of these things. And so yeah, guys, I'm gonna end this video because now I am just babbling. And like and subscribe if this was useful. I hope it was. And yeah, talk to you guys next time.